Up next on the podcast, we have Khalil Arnold, a man who needs no introduction. He is the owner of Arnold's Meat and Three, probably one of the most famous meat and threes in Tennessee. We're super happy to sit down and talk with him.
Well, the cool thing is we went to the oldest liquor store there. I didn't know the oldest liquor store in the United States is in Charleston.
No, are you serious?
Yeah, it's at, my girl remembered the address. But we didn't know. We just kind of, it was like a cool old little building, something like 2 stories. And we just kind of passed by, and we were thirsty, and looked at they had wine too. And so we were like, oh, what's going? We walked in there, and this guy just fucking was so knowledgeable about history. He was like, this was during
It's more like a museum than a fucking liquor store.
He was like during Prohibition.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know this. During Prohibition, you could not, obviously you couldn't drink. But if you went into your barber back in the day was like a dermatologist. Because they could like remove growths, like do all and prescribe things. So they could prescribe alcohol for your ailing problems.
That was the workaround.
That was the workaround.
So everybody became a dentist?
It was a barber. It was, and I was like, I never knew a barber had like could.
Oh, it was a barber. Oh,
it's a barber. Barber could prescribe things. That's what he said. And I was like, but it was the old. I think it was from 1680.
Wow.
I was like, holy shit.
You ever think how crazy Prohibition was? I mean, in the world that we live in now, how insane it was,
Well, it's scary because, you've seen you get the gist of The Handmaid's Tale. It's like never really watched it, but it's like and you're like, oh, that can never happen. But then you think of Prohibition, and you're like, the alcohol's always been around. And all of a sudden, some zealous, crazy motherfuckers getting off, and they're like, you can't drink anymore and have fun. It's like watching Footloose. So you can't drink 100%.
Well, no dancing. You're like, what? What kind of world is this, man?
Yeah. Well, I mean, considering, they say, just think of, like watch something crazy. It's almost reality's crazier than what you see on movies.
It definitely is, man. Yeah. Although it's like when you see pictures of like Iran and Tehran in like the 70s, 77, 76, and you see like women in bikinis, women driving cars, and you see all these old pictures of like people like out having fun
in the Middle East.
In Iran in the 70s was like it looked like Miami.
No way.
Yeah, dude, check it out.
I gotta check this out.
Yeah, and now you look now, you're like, oh shit.
So, I thought it was always like.
No, the history of Iran is pretty fucking amazing. You should do a deep dive into that.
Oh,
I'm kind of a history buff. At night when I eat an edible and I try to go to sleep, I gotta look up random things.
Yeah.
My brain's like, dude, where's your birth certificate? I'm just trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But like Iran in the 70s was crazy, man. Yeah.
Holy
women had jobs, women were like professors. And now it's like Sharia law and stuff, yeah.
That's showing you that it could happen anywhere, anytime.
Anywhere, man.
I mean, and right now, look at the crazy people we have in office.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, it's not just them. I'm not Republican, Democrat.
No, me either, man.
All fucking crazy.
I think, this is not a political show at all, but I think the best thing that the two parties do is keep us separate from us talking to realize how much we have in common. And America is so purple. America is so purple that if we could just shut all them up for a second and have a conversation with our neighbors, have a conversation with the other side and be like, yo, bro, like...
And that's it.
What does everybody want? Everybody wants lower taxes. They want to be left alone. They want to have the freedom to do the things that they want to do.
Yeah.
And this constant barrage of they're trying to take this and they're trying to take that. It's like every presidential candidate cannot be the worst thing for America. It can't be the end of democracy every time we vote for somebody. If you vote for this person, it's the end of democracy. Because both sides are saying it. It can't be, man. It can't be.
It's the narrative is to scare us.
Yeah,
it's a scare tactic, and that's the problem. They've all adopted that terminology and that narrative that it's the doom and gloom, that all this stuff, and now you've got them going after each other for everything, and now it's like these are the people that are supposed to be leading. It's like you're saying, it's the narrative. It's unfortunately it's the Facebook and the Instagram or whatever you want to read. Everybody knows there's an algorithm that whatever you want to read, they're feeding into your to the narrative of what you're thinking, and then all it does is, I know how many times I've seen in the past 2 months, seen people being like, well, I've just shortened my friends list, and I'm reading. I'm like, I bet it's because politics. I read down a little bit more.
100%.
This person, this, and I'm like,
100%.
Guys, what does it matter? Like, hey. If you want to vote for Trump, you want to vote for Biden, I have no problem.
Right.
I'll be happy to listen to you.
Right. Just be a good person.
Because, because honestly, they don't care about you. None of them. So
no one gives
I
a
don't
shit.
understand. Yeah.
Those people don't give a shit about us, man. It's
Yeah.
like I saw one of them tweeted. I don't know which one it was, but they're something about like, well, this is what the government's doing to you as like a congressperson. I'm like, you're the fucking government. You are. What are you talking about? You are the government.
Yeah.
You're fucking. You do something about it. You know. Fuck
know.
you talking to the government. You are the government, asshole.
Well, that was like this, like the people that are going to vote for Harris. It's like when she's like, well, this is what I'm going to do. And they're like, well, why haven't you done that in 4 years in office?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start doing this.
Also, she's not the fucking president.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but is Biden the president?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. And the closer we get to the election, the more I'm just trying to tune it out for my own mental sanity.
Yes.
And I come home and I watch like cat videos on YouTube or like dads hitting the balls with wiffle bats. You know, that's what my algorithms are feeding me right now.
That's hilarious. So, that's exactly what.
Yeah.
I mean, my girl's always like thinks I'm on my phone, like looking at like the social media stuff about that. I'm like, I'm usually just watching sports.
I'm just watching like clips of like, you know, some weird stuff or like, you know, First Amendment auditors. You ever see those guys? Those guys like go in public and like film and they're doing legal things, but it's kind of like annoying, you know?
Yeah.
And people are like, they call the cops on them. They're provoking people to call the cops because they know the law. And they're like First Amendment auditors, and the cops come and be like, hey, he's not doing anything illegal. It's legal for him to like stand on the street corner and film you. If you don't want to be on film, like don't get in front of his face in the camera. And it's like these big meltdowns. And I don't know. I like watching people.
You like when some shit stirred up.
I like what shit.
You like some stirred up shit,
yeah.
Dude. I mean, I think Nashville's going crazy. I'm not going to say where Friday, but Friday. We went to, we were going to open, Mais de la Vida was getting ready to open up.
Yeah.
He sent me something.
Pumped for him.
He sent friends and family to, you know, so I went and we were like 15 minutes early. So we went to this restaurant that's right by there. And I had a bottle of wine in my hand because I was going to say, you know, congratulations for your place. And we went to a place that's close by there. My girl walks inside and she was like, hey, can I get a couple Prosecco's, whatever? And the guy's like, sure. And she was like, can I go sit on your patio? So we go sit on the patio waiting for his place to open. All of a sudden, the manager comes out there and starts berating us. You can't do this here. This is for paying customers. You guys can't bring your alcohol, and we're holding cups from there. All right? We're holding 2 cups from the restaurant. And the thing was, there was several other tables around, and he starts, instead of walking up to us and asking us, like, hey, guys, did y'all get that here? Like, you can't drink.
Well, why don't you check with the fucking bartender first?
Yeah, I know. So he, like, did it in front of all these people. And my girl... I just kind of stood up and I was like, this is why I don't ever come here. I just kind of walked off because I was like, I'm going to lose my shit on this guy. Because the thing is, if he'd have come over and been like, hey guys, you know, is that from here? Like, just questioned us. But he accused us without considering. And my girl was like, well, you know, I bought these inside. And she just kind of stuck the glass down and we both walked off. But it was just like, now you're in this country, now you're guilty till proven innocent.
Right.
You know, and it was kind of like, it was like, Jesus. And then 12 South yesterday, we're crossing the street. This guard comes whipping around. We were right by Burger Up. This guard comes whipping around, and literally, I was like, does the person see us? He was on his phone, looking that way, going this way.
On 12 South.
On 12 South.
On fucking 12 South.
On 12 South. And so I'm like, he has to see me. And he speeds up. And I'm like, oh my God, I might run out of the way. Because I was like, because you don't go fast. And next thing I know, like he finally saw me and I was kind of like this, like, hey, you know. Whoa. And then he starts wailing on the horn, flicking me off. Like, because I just said, like, hey, dude, like, you know, pay attention. You're freaking driving on a busy ass road. But it was my fault. And I'm just kind of like.
But we're in the hospitality. Where's the hospitality of a manager coming out and berating you, sitting on the patio, even if you brought your own wine in. Let's just say, which is completely fucking illegal to begin with. Wouldn't you be like, hey guys, here's some menus. You want to order some food? Like, a manager, like the first thing that I would do is I would evaluate the situation, see 2 people drinking out of red Solo cups. Yeah. Be like, okay, that's weird. Go to the server and be like, what's going on at table 25?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you know, they ordered glasses here, but they were going to leave, so they put it in their Solo cups, but they paid from here. Oh, okay. End of discussion.
Yeah.
You know?
No, 100%.
Cue the music from, what is it, Larry David show?
That would have been a great skit right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost thought we were getting punked because he came out.
Sounds like it.
He came out and was just accusing us. And I'm just sitting there like, and the thing was, if he had done it professionally, Number one, he was raising his voice. Like I was like I had done something wrong. Like, how dare you do this here? And I'm just sitting there like, all these people are looking at us like we had done something. And I'm just like, I was kind of...
Should have just been like, hey, man, are you okay?
I should have.
You all right? You need a hug?
Hey, do you need a little...
Do you need something?
Yeah, do you need a little pod? Do you need a little something? That would have been really good.
Time out, buddy? You need a timeout?
That would have been...
Yeah.
I guess, if I'd known that we were going to stay there and eat, I would probably... But I know we were popping in, popping out. And I kind of pulled up the bottle of wine. I said, this is for my friend opening the place next door, which I'll be patroning. Never your place. You know, it's kind of just like, oh, my God.
Crazy.
Yeah. But you're right. You're in the hospitality industry. It's like, so, you know, my thing is, I would have tried to have, number one, the place wasn't busy. So I'd have tried to been like, hey, you know, you guys want to eat something too?
Right.
Like trying to solicit business.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you know, when I go places now, I went somewhere yesterday, somewhere new. The entire restaurant was empty. The bar was full. And I was like, hey, are there any tables out in your patio? And they were like, oh, no, we're not. And I understand you don't have certain sections open. But I try to be accommodating. And so I think that's what some people are lacking here. I know when I went to Charleston, it's like everywhere I went, they had, this service was exemplary. It was like everybody was taking care of everybody. It was like reminding me of the way Nashville used to be. And the reason it used to be is because I don't think it's the same way anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, it used to be, it's like, you know, oh, what can I do to accommodate you? You are taking your time to come visit my restaurant. Grateful you're here. What
it's
can
in
I,
the
you know,
name of what we do.
backwards.
It's the hospitality industry. Yeah. And basically, we're losing the hospitality. I've been saying this for 10 years now. Even before I got to Nashville, like, we're losing hospitality. It became about the rock and roll chef, and it became about TV and competition. And it's not about inviting someone into your home and cooking them a meal and treating them well and remembering what they ordered last time or saying hello or bringing out a candle for their anniversary. It's those little touches.
Those little touches go a long way.
And it's like when you walk into Arnold's, the greatest thing about walking in there is seeing you. And you greet everybody. It's the pinnacle of what hospitality should be. You're always smiling. You're always talking shit. You're walking around. You're working the room. You're going back there. You're telling people what to get. Like,
hey, I think, you know, I guess my dad was that way, and I got to see it when I was young. And just kind of just pass it on. And it's like, you know, when it says a lot when you can make people feel special.
It's inside of you, though. It's not something that can be taught. It's inside of you. Yeah. You either have it or you don't.
That's true.
You know, and you have it.
That's true.
You have that smile. You have that magnetic personality that people want to be around.
In that industry, you have to be.
You have to be.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Now more than ever with so many different restaurants, so many different places you can go eat at. You want to be special. So it's like my dad always said, if the food is good, people will come back. And I remember one of the first things I ever learned about that was I went to the Admiral back in the day when that chef was there, and the food was fantastic when they first opened up. But I remember the service sucked, and it was like, they're like, I don't care if you come in or not. But, you know, and I read that on the thing, and it was like, amazing food, service sucks.
Yeah.
You know, then they finally got it all together. But I think that's, you know, kind of taught me, you got to always have good food. My dad always said, he was like the original Gordon Ramsay. I would bring food out of the kitchen, and he would taste it. And if he didn't like it, he would be like, this sucks, take it back. And I'd be like, no, it's good. He'd be like, if you wouldn't want to eat it and think it's the best thing you're eating, don't serve it.
The foundations of the restaurant industry.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like...
It's the first thing you learn at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Would you eat that? No. Well, then why would you serve it?
Yeah.
It's the first thing you learn.
Yeah, he was definitely... The problem is he would berate you in front of people. Well, this sucks, son. I'm like, God, does everybody like to...
You can't do that here.
Yeah. Does everybody like to embarrass me in front of everybody? This is like, you! Everybody's like, what a dumbass. You know? And so... But it's like, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from him. You know, number one, not to fucking get on somebody's ass in front of people. You know, I'm like, hey, come in the kitchen. Come in the kitchen. Let me cuss you out and tell you, you know. But now it's like, you even like not even raise your voice. You're like, hey, you know, what is this? Like,
yeah.
You're using dirt. You're like, what? I don't understand.
You can't, I mean,
some people, they want that criticism.
Yeah.
Like, I have my son right now, he's working for me. And he's like, no, tell me what I did wrong. Like, I want to know. And it's like the most I learn from people, and I'm lucky. I have a lot of customers who've been coming forever, and they're very good at coming up and being like, hey, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that, because 9 out of 10 times they're right. You know, and it's like, hey, this, you know, because every now and then you have the one like, that's terrible. And you're eating, you're like, that's freaking
fine.
It's the way Arnold's tastes.
Yeah.
But and it's like they'll tell me something, and it's I feel like family. They feel comfortable enough telling me, like, instead of just eating it and it sucking, being like, hey, something's not right with this. Check it out. And I think that's the rapport I want to kind of get with the customers, and I feel it's because I've treated them like family, and I'm kind of taking them in, and it's built up trust. And I think that's important in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Built up trust with your customers, built up trust with your employees. I think that's two of the biggest building blocks of being successful and being hospitable.
Yeah.
Like we were saying earlier, man, you make people come in there, you remember their name, which I'm terrible at, but I keep remembering myself, like Hunter, he's wearing hunting shorts or something, whatever, to trick the memory.
I don't remember the name, but it's like, you sat over here with your wife. She was wearing a black top. You're here for your anniversary. You guys ordered this, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, how'd you remember that? I'm like, I have no idea what your name is.
That's me. We have this one couple that has come. They have literally come from Alabama, and they have been together over 50 years.
Jesus
They're
Christ.
Irish. They, I think they had their 60th anniversary, and because we were closed in 2023, they came this past year. And somebody drove them up, and they just...
Isn't that amazing, man?
I was like, holy cow.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. I mean, in this day and age, to know couples that have been together that long, and they seem happy as a clam. It's like just...
But the double-edged sword to that is that that's the good part of it, and that's what we do, and that's what we want. It's like to have this rapport, have these repeat guests, to be treated them like family and stuff. But the double edge to that is like, this is one of the only industries that people will come to your place, have a meal, get serviced, and then go home and write a shit review online that actually, I mean, it holds less weight now than it used to, but you know, it's like, I go to the gas station, all the pumps are full. I'm not like, this gas station sucks, 1 star, like I had to wait, or go to a doctor's. This is the only industry where people wait 15 minutes and they're like, we had this group of girls that we were super fucking busy a couple months ago, and this 3 top of girls was waiting for a table, and we had a table that's just camping out.
Yeah.
They were there like way longer than they fucking should have been.
Yeah.
And then Matthew had asked them to like, not so much leave, but kind of nudged them a little bit, and I felt like they hunkered down even more. Like, oh yeah, you gonna need this table back? Yeah, we're not leaving at all.
Yeah.
So we were really late on the reservation, and they were fucking, I could see them screaming at Matthew, like the finger pointing like this. And they're like, where's our table? Like, we want, and Matthew's like, listen, I got a round of drinks coming. And she literally said, yeah, we want free appetizers too. Like, who says that? Like, I'm not at the doctor's. I'm not at the doctor's office being like, hey man, it's been 45 minutes. Where's the doctor? I want a free stethoscope. I want a free box of rubber gloves. I want a free box of rubber gloves when I leave here,
That's pretty brilliant.
You just go to the doctor and you wait, because that industry, there's you don't have any power. And we've put all this power into the guest to be a food critic, to be a patron, to be a restaurant owner, to be a chef. They have all these things now, and they have these tools that they could just they could leave the restaurant and say to your face, everything was great, and then go write a shit review and say everything was terrible. It's like, we asked you at that particular moment. We could have fixed all these problems. If you didn't like the drink, we could have got you another one.
Yeah.
If you thought the dish was too salty, you should have said something. We could have got you another one.
Yeah.
We have all of these loopholes and all these, safety nets to make sure you have a good time. But if you're saying everything's great, we're having fun, and you're lying, then there's nothing that we can do to prevent the problems that you're having.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that restaurant. I don't know why we allow this to happen.
Well, why we allow it, and like what you're saying, is putting so much, putting so much power in people's reviews. It's like, I mean, I looked at one. We got a bad one recently, and it's because our ice machine's broken, and you get your own ice there, and somebody left the scoop in the ice thing, and we got a 1 review, and I read her review, and food's good. They left the scooper in the ice thing. How disgusting! And it was like, well, it wasn't us. It was a customer.
Yeah, totally.
Wasn't us. We had the thing right there.
Right.
But 1 review, and then I went back and looked at all her reviews.
All 1-star reviews.
1, 2.
Yeah.
Some fast food restaurant, it was like Steak and Shake 5, and I was like,
right.
Steak and Shake 5, and I'm like, exactly what you're saying. We're giving them a loaded gun with that power, and people really I mean, that's why I don't really. I got to go figure it out on my own. I mean, places like we saw, my girlfriend and I saw The Crow the other day, and it was a great movie. The new edition of The Crow. Terrible reviews, like 1 star or something.
You can't listen to the
reviews. And then I
man.
watched the movie. We were both like, "Damn, this is better than the first one.
Yeah,
better than the one with Jason Lee in it." We were like, and it's like, so it's like you pretty much have to experience it on your own to realize. Because half the time I think that people don't want you to do something because they don't want you to see it,
right?
Or they don't want you to go eat there. I don't know. It is. We've put way too much weight on other people's reviews.
It's sometimes like I don't have an opinion on everything, and everyone has an opinion on it. I go to a restaurant and with 4 people, 5 people, and we're engaged in conversation, and we ate. I thought the food was good. I'm not like dissecting it because I'm out with my friends. We're having an experience. We're talking. We're having some drinks. The server's kind of involved and adding to our. And I leave the restaurant. I don't have a review. I don't have a critique because I'm not there to critique it. And I feel like everybody's coming in thinking that they're the food writer from Ratatouille,
That's a great analogy.
We got a bad review of something so benign, the guy was like, 1 star, they ran out of garlic bread or something, And then we went back and again, I always go and look, and he 500 reviews. He reviewed a Firestone. He reviewed a Publix. Like, why are you writing reviews on grocery stores? Like, what could you possibly... They didn't have the yogurt I was looking for. 1 star. Like, what could you possibly write as a review of Publix?
That's exactly... I mean, it sounds like they might be the same person, just one name.
Probably.
They might be a couple.
Probably. I think they're all bots. I really think it's all bots, man. I think this is a simulation. I really do, man. It's got to be.
I bet.
Hospitality edition.
I mean, I guess...
Grand Theft Auto, Hospitality edition.
Yeah. There we go. We're on Xbox.
Yeah.
But people don't realize, there's so much into running a restaurant. You live, breathe it. A buddy of mine who's now a personal trainer, worked at Blackberry Farm back in the day. Mm-hmm. And he said that, I was a pretty good cook and kept moving up. But he was like, I just couldn't do it. It's like you live, breathe, when you're not there, you're researching recipes, you're checking out other people's places. Yeah. It's like, and then your ordering is like, it's mandatory 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And then if you're the owner or the chef, you continue working more. And it's like, he's like, and I didn't want that to be a part of my life anymore. Right. He was like, I got burned out in like 5 years. And it's like, and then here you are, like, this is where livelihood. We don't go into somebody's job. Somebody, say you got somebody did your porch. Are you going to go write them a terrible review?
I don't think
like
I've
what
ever
you're saying.
A review
So it's like
anything.
you're destroying somebody's business.
Yes.
And you might not agree with, I didn't like the stain. I thought it'd be a different stain. But I'm going to go tear your business down.
Yeah.
That you've been working and busting your butt, and living it and working probably, 20 times more than most people, and then here you are trying to destroy it. And it's like, okay, like what you're saying, you can go to somebody's restaurant and not like something. And why don't you let me know? One thing I learned a long time ago was plates. Plates never lie. So if I see food on a plate, I'm like, hey, and I see green over there, I'm like, something's wrong with the green.
We're seasoned enough to know, to cruise by and see if somebody's liking something out. The way that they're moving their fork, their body language. I'm just like, hey, check on table 23. I'm pretty sure that they don't like it.
Yeah.
And the server will come back and be like, they're having a great time. And it was kind of like one of those things where I just cruised by at a wrong moment.
Yeah.
And they're like, I always check with the server. I don't think that they're liking that. And sometimes they're like, yeah, I'm glad I checked in. They didn't. Can we get this instead? I'm like, absolutely. And I run it myself. I'm like, hey, sorry about that. Try this. This is one of our most popular dishes. And then they leave and they're happy because we were able to identify the problem without them saying it.
Yeah.
Because people like us know.
Plates never lie.
Plates never lie. And then we fix the fucking problem. And they left. And now they come back all the time. But do you think in the day and age, okay, so
I don't think most people think that because it's
the expectation is so high across the board of everything that we do in our life that we can't, especially a restaurant, you can't meet someone's expectations. Take a place like Blackberry Farm. You make the reservation months in advance. You've read all the reviews, you've seen the pictures, and you start to create this fantasy of what you think it's going to be. And that fantasy isn't in line with what the reality of what they're doing. And they're operating on a high level. And you get there with higher expectations of what they could possibly do, and then you're let down. And I think that's a lot of what's
usually
happening.
it most of the time.
Yeah.
It's like one thing that was great about Charleston is I had no expectations. So everywhere I went, I thought was great. And the more I think about it now, I'm like, oh, that was okay. I really thought it was great because I had no expectations, what you're saying. Because most times when you build something up, you know, I mean, every now and then you build something up and it hits the home run. But 9 out of 10 times, you're just like, it was good. You know, it was good. You're like, I'm not blown away, but hey, you know, I'm happy. I mean, it was good service. Food was solid.
Good time. Yeah, I'm on vacation.
And I'm not going to go write. Yeah, I'm not going to go write a review either way.
Right.
You know, and
I didn't spend $900 at the antique store on a knife. You know?
Oh hell, a paper clip, a damn opener. That's the one thing. Yeah, if anybody ever goes to Charleston, careful about the antique stores.
The letter opener.
The letter opener's like, it was like that was Alexander Hamilton's.
Yeah,
you know?
It was Alexander Hamilton's neighbor's college roommates.
It was Aaron Burr, or wasn't that the guy who killed him? Anyway, but it's just, I guess that's what it was. Like when a lot of times you build up expectations, most places don't, you know. Don't knock it out, especially when you're spending that much money.
Yeah, especially when you go to Publix and it doesn't meet your expectation. You know,
damn Publix or BF Goodwrench,
right? Or BF Goodwrench.
Firestone, damn Firestone. That oil didn't get didn't get done fast enough. I'm sorry, 1 star.
Let's talk about Arnold's for a minute. So I'm from Chicago. I'm a Yankee from Chicago, and I moved down here. And I had never heard of a meat and 3.
Most people had.
And I was like, this is the most genius idea I've ever fucking heard. Now, with that, this is the first time that people are like, hey, how much for a plate? Like, I was doing these. You came to one of my pop-up dinners during the pandemic, and I was buying all kinds of stuff from Creation and the farmers, and I'd go to Creation Garden, and I'd pick up, like, the commodity stuff and herbs. Yeah. And the guy, one of the kids was there. He's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing these pop-ups at my house, this and that. It's like a tasting menu kind of thing. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. How much for a plate? And I was just like, well, I mean, I'm not really selling plates. And I finally put that together of like a meat and 3, you buy a plate. Yeah. And you have your protein, your starch, your vegetables, and that's a plate. Yeah. Or barbecue is a plate. And it's like, that's a very Southern thing that took me a long time to figure out.
It is a very Southern thing.
Let's get into meat and 3s, where they came about. Let's talk about your dad, and let's talk about what you've been doing.
So I have been asked this question a few times, and it's like I was kind of like, I don't know where the hell it came from, because I was born into it, and then I know that a meat and 3 in Nashville, after researching it, and it's a lot of stuff people would find on their family farm. I mean, most of the food comes from it's all Southern food. You've got your corn, green beans, turnip greens, yams, fried apples. Your succotash, all your succotash was stuff that they found, and they were just trying to throw crap together. It was your corn and whatever the heck, lima beans, whatever you want to throw in it. Yeah, crowder beans, whatever you want to throw in it. And so a meat and 3, why Nashville became popular with it, of all places, is because people was a big farming community, and people would come into town. Well, people would come into town, they used to call, I think it was John Edgerton that said, when breakfast was lunch was dinner, and dinner was just kind of an afterthought. So people would eat a little breakfast, they'd go work in the fields, then they'd come eat a very sustainable lunch because they'd been working their butts off since crack of dawn. They'd need a big old lunch because they made money, and then they'd need enough food to sustain yourself before you had dinner at sundown. So I mean, hell, 10 to 12 hour day you're out there working, so you're going to be starving by lunchtime. So
sounds like a healthy diet.
It's a very hey. That's why they live. That's why that older generation is kicking ass.
Yeah.
So they would come in. They started the Atkins diet before it was Atkins diet. They would just eat a bunch in the middle of the day and then never eat again.
Yeah, right.
That was it.
Intermittent fasting without even knowing it.
Exactly. Freaking brilliance. Yeah. And one of that generation kicks ass. So people would come into Nashville. And they would do this, and so that's when he would say your big meals in the middle of the day. So that's when it was kind of like the blue plate special, meat and 3. You'd kind of come in, whatever you could find on the farm. It was original. My dad would literally go to the farmer's market every morning. Like when I started coming in with him.
But it was the farmer's market, or was just the market?
It was the farmer's market.
But they had a farmer's market.
They had a farmer's market.
I feel like back then it was just the fucking market. That's just where you went shopping.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know before his time, but I remember going in when, it's probably the 90s. when I started going, and he'd make me go in the morning, like we're out of school for high school, and he'd be like, "Get your ass up!" Like,
yeah, we need help.
That's my sunroom. What
Free
are you
labor.
talking about?
Yeah, free labor.
Get your ass in here. And I'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And I was the worst thing because he would go in extra early because back then they had breakfast, so it was like before the sun came up. It was like 4:30 in the morning. It was like, I'd be like, oh my god. So he would get my ass. Anyway, we'd go to the market, and it was hilarious. Smiley's, which was still there, one of the only places still, probably the only place still there. He would go in there, and they literally had their walk-in was like, I remember at one time was like a portable walk-in. It was like a refrigerated like little truck. So my dad would go in there. The days we wouldn't be there, he would just go in there and just get it out and be like, I'll give him next time, you know. And so we always get greens there, and I remember that he'd get turnip greens, and I remember the turnip greens you pretty much had one person just pick for the day. So my dad would have this guy back just picking greens all day, and then he finally was smart enough to get collard greens because they don't cook down as much. Turnip greens sitting there all day long picking for one day.
Right.
But yeah, we go to the farmer's market. He gets tomatoes, get whatever was in season, and so a meat and three was just like it was kind of your first in the South like chef's table because it was like whatever the hell you get your hands on, you know. And back in the day, I can remember we would get some local meat, but not everybody had it. It was hard to find here. He would get some stuff from Cisco, you know, wherever he could find, wherever he could get source meat from. And there wasn't a Bear Creek. There wasn't, you know, all that back then. But the difference is what I've noticed now, to get off subject a little bit, I remember when he would make meatloaf, it was good. It wasn't as obviously not nearly as good as Bear Creek, but it was decent. And then like fast forward 10 years, he couldn't figure out why his meatloaf just would never fold right. It was the process of how they do the meat, you know, just became kind of getting off subject, but kind of the crappiness of how over time bad meat got. You know, but we'll get on that subject later because that's when I found Leanne and I was like, I got to find something better than this. When I started working there, like really taking over in the early 2000s, I was like, this ain't, you know, I remember how your meat used to be and how meatloaf beautiful and great it was to how crap it was. First we started getting whole top rounds and grinding them ourselves, and then we found Leanne, and anyway, that's the other subject. But meat and threes, that was the big thing. We had judges would come in, we had farmers came in. You know, I remember as a kid we'd had, you know, what was the unspoken rule of Nashville is no matter who you were, everybody sat at the same table.
That's amazing.
You know, it's like you were a judge. You could have been a homeless guy. You could have been a mailman. You could have been whatever. Everybody kind of came and sat at the same table during lunch. Lunch was the busy time, and then everybody get the hell out of town. Weekends were dead in Nashville. You would come on a Saturday, Sunday, and it was like Mayor Bull's. That's out in Brentwood. They used to be downtown on 2nd Avenue. The only time they were really busy on the weekend and they would do this elaborate buffet back in the day for like that's where we would go for Thanksgiving. Like if my dad wasn't cooking at home, sometimes he'd be like, "All right, let's go to Mayor Bull's." Mayor Bull's had this guy out there carving hams, like kind of like what we do, and it was crazy. And now they're out in Brentwood, but it's kind of that was the only place that was busy. The honky tonks were like one story, couple picnic tables. It was almost like you saw in the bar, the movie. What was that? Roadhouse.
Yeah.
They weren't throwing stuff at the people there, but it was like
the chicken wire on the stage,
it
like the Blues Brothers.
But it was like they were like hole in the walls like that.
Yeah.
So I can remember, just God, all kinds of like Chet Atkins, Porter Wagner. I met Jack White through Porter Wagner. Jack White came in, and Porter was showing him around town before Jack put a studio here, and. I remember he was like, "Here's this guy, Jack White," and I didn't know who he was at the time. And my brother, I guess he was a little bit of a younger generation. His music at the time it wasn't mainstream, but my brother was like, my little brother. I remember going by my parents' house. I met some guy named Jack White today. He's like, "What?" And he freaked out. And but I remember that back in the day, Arnold's in Nashville in general. It was such a small town. You would run into people several times, which was good and bad. If you saw an ex-girlfriend, you'd be like, "Oh crap,
shit,
see her out," because there wasn't many places to go.
Yeah,
but there was a lot of meat and threes. You had Arnold's, Dan's, Silver Sands, Wendell Smith, Sweats. I mean, Sweats is the mecca. Sweats and Wendell Smiths have been there the longest.
Really,
they are the grandfather.
The OGs, huh?
And the OGs. Let's see, who was it? Like Haptowns. Haptown's was where Gabby's was. His is almost the oldest meat and three ever. It was like 3 generations, like the early 1900s. Wow. It was like 3 generations. Google it. The guy made these. Everybody talks about. I never had them, but these raisins. He did these bold, like gigantic raisins, and everybody talks about them. I need him to do that at the restaurant. But
what was that? What was Wedgwood Houston's where Gabby's like? What was that neighborhood in the 1900s? It was
you had the refineries. You had the sounds. Yeah. And then you had refineries, and that was it. You know?
I mean, it's still a pretty beat up neighborhood, man. I
mean, they're changing that whole area.
a lot.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they've got this place called Iggy's there. It's supposed to be pretty decent.
Yeah, I heard
I heard it. They had just got on the 25, restaurants from the New York Times.
We paid for that, man.
Yeah. Well,
the guy that wrote the article is my cousin.
Just kidding. That's what I figured. I knew that if you're on it, Audrey, Martins, they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They got paid.
Yeah. So, at what point were you like, "This, I'm gonna take over the family business"?
Well, the thing was, I was off and on in college. I always liked it. I guess it was. I forgot what. To age myself, when I was in college, there was Party of Five. It was like something on Fox, and I remember the kid.
I remember that show. Yeah.
Ran the restaurant. I always kind of wanted a little bit of a nicer, more high end. I was like, I'd love to do that one.
Yeah.
But I was like, I couldn't let my dad know that.
Wait,
because
how old are you?
He was so. I'm 47.
Oh, we're the same age.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it was kind of like he was kind of always. It was. I couldn't work for my dad, but I was always calling them when I was. Like I only went away for like a year and a half, 2 years to Tennessee Tech, and I ended up graduating MTSU.
But what did you want to do? Did you have any idea?
Oh, I was doing wildlife, but then I kept changing it. Well, I have a degree in criminal justice.
Everybody does.
I have a minor in history, biology, sociology, psychology, and I have one more in something else.
So you're just partying.
Well, I was just partying, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I went from wanting to be a park ranger to, at the end, wanting to be a lawyer.
Don't you think that's a lot of pressure to put on a 17-year-old who's a senior in high school to be like, okay, figure out what you want to do the rest of your life, and you got to stick to that.
Yeah.
And there's no societal opportunity for you to be like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to change it.
And I think that's. Well, I mean, look at how many people that have graduated that actually do what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, the percentage has got to be low. Yeah. Unless you're a doctor.
Yeah, unless you're a doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, and even then, some of them have left the practice. A lot of doctors are now more than ever that if they're a little older, they're retiring and getting the hell out. They're like, I'm not, this. But anyway, people aren't ready for that. It's like, just like when think about all the marriages that when people get married, like by the time they're 20, they aren't together anymore. Dude. It's like you're still growing as a person.
You got to go sow your royal oats, man, and then come back and be like, okay, I'm ready to settle down, man.
Yeah.
And people arrive at different times in their lives, at different fucking platforms and plateaus, and I don't know.
So you see that couple that's been married 60 years, you're like, I don't know how you did it.
How did you guys?
You guys are badass.
How did you do it, man?
Yeah. I mean, everything in life, especially now with the digital access, it's like so much easier to be like, oh, I don't like you, I'm getting out of this.
100%.
Like, I'm not going to give any effort, and so it's almost, to bring it back to a restaurant, if you can, because you suffer. I mean, you know how it is. You can physically, it's physically demanding, mentally demanding, and not always, not very much financial rewarding, but it's like it's a passion, and it's like the almost same sense of a marriage. Because you're going to be through thick and thin, and you can't just leave. It's like when Arnold's closed, I remember I didn't ever want to get back in the business again.
Yeah, I remember.
Because I was like, it sucked my life out of me. Because number one, I felt like I was a failure. Even though we were selling it for greater means, my mom was getting ready to retire.
But break that down for a second, man. Like nobody looks at it that way. Everybody looks at it. They fucking cashed out and they got out. Thank God. God bless them. That's what I said. But I was like, fuck.
But I wasn't ready to let go. But I was like doing it because I was like, this is good for my mom.
Right.
And
your mom was ready to let go.
Oh, my mom's still ready to let go.
Yeah.
She is let go.
Yeah.
But she's just got to get that check.
So what happened? Well, when did Arnold's open?
My dad started working there like in 81, 82. In 82, he bought it from Lynn Chandler, which the story is that this guy named Lawrence Mashburn or Maxwell Mashburn. I think it's Lawrence Mashburn. He's a local this entrepreneur in Nashville. He came in one day. My dad wasn't whistling. My dad was like old school. Like he would make sure stuff was going on in the kitchen, and go back there, and then he would short lane cook for everybody coming for breakfast. So they would just come and order from him, and he'd have like he could balance like 20 orders at once.
Holy
go cuss
shit.
the kitchen out, tell them where to go to the farmer's market. Like I can't do what he did. So he would I'd go in there. So I started working there, and people would be ordering from him, and then I'd be like, how do you do that? And then he'd go back to like, the biscuits aren't right, you need to be doing this and that. And I'd be like, how do you do all that stuff? It's like, so my dad started working there for about a year. It was Lynn Chandler who owned like Sylvan Park and like 5 other meat and threes. He was also owned Ellison Place Soda Shop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
great.
so he owned a bunch. Arnold's was his, it was I think it was called Sylvan, no, it was a lot of Lynn Chandler's like meat and three. It was Lynn Chandler's. Or it was Chandler's. And so anyway, it was his tax write-off. The place wasn't making any money. My dad was like, hey, do you kind of care? Do you care what I do here? And he's like, Jack, as long as you don't burn down the place, keep the food running, you can definitely, put your little spin on things. Well, my dad's put a spin on things that actually, him and this guy named Jerry Stokes, it was his opening cook at the time. They kind of did their stuff and kind of, with my dad's, very, personality, telling jokes, bad jokes to everybody. He was just kind of entertaining. He intrigued people. He started making money. It actually made money the first year he was there. And Lynn Chandler didn't like that. He was like,
oh, really?
He wanted them to lose money. It was his tax write-off.
Shit.
It was his, like, oh, we can making money over in Ellison Place. We're making money over here. We want Arnold's to crash and burn, or Sylvan Park to crash, or not Sylvan Park, Chandler's, to not make any money.
Yeah.
So when it did, Lynn Chandler was like, hey, Jack, I'm going to have to sell it. I'm going to give you first dibs. I want 13. If you can buy the business for $13,000 and it's yours. And my dad was like, he had 3 small kids at the time.
13,000.
13,000.
I just paid 13,000 in taxes last week for liquor.
Yeah. So at the time, my dad's freaking out because he couldn't do it. So one of his customers, Lawrence Mashburn, came in and he noticed my dad whistled every day, like literally like a freaking whistle, like a symphony, like just. I remember as a kid, he could whistle and people would always be like, damn, your dad can whistle. Well, he comes in and he's like, Jack, you're not whistling. My dad tells him a story like, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been working my butt off for this place and I have a chance to buy it, but I don't have any money. Yeah. And so he tells him a story, and the next day, the guy comes in with a check for $13,000. Wow. And it was like, Jack, I've seen what you've done. You have put your heart and soul in this place. I am moved because I want you to still be here. I like coming and seeing you when I come in the morning, and here's your chance. And
how cool is that?
And without even asking, it's like the opportunity. Sometimes that's it's why you keep your head down, be grateful, and just I think sometimes God or whatever great power has a way of just kind of rewarding you for.
Slow and steady wins the race.
It does. Slow and steady wins the race. So my dad and my mom paid the guy back a year or 2 later, and the rest is how Arnold started. And it's like it taught me to just kind of never give up, be grateful, and to know that when we were closing, like you're saying, it was like, yeah, Mom, we're cashing out. But to me, it was kind of like, and turning the chapter on that. I guess I wasn't ready, and I guess the property wasn't ready on that either. I mean, what
was going through your mind? Like you're looking at like an early fucking retirement at 40, 45, 46.
There's several things.
I could see you not. I mean, if someone said to me right now, like, we're going to buy Iggy's and you don't have to, here's enough money, you don't have to work anymore. I'd be like, what am I going to do? What am I going to, I knew
it wasn't going to be enough money for the rest of my life.
Right.
But my mom,
not in this economy.
Not in this economy. Not when you're spending $500 for the grocery store for 2 days.
Yeah.
But what's going through my mind was like, what am I going to do? Are you ready to let go? Are you ready? I needed a change.
Do you have it in you to open another restaurant?
See, and I started thinking of it. I started hyperventilating.
Yes,
because
I could see that.
And it's not because I didn't like doing what I was doing. It's because it's like I'm saying, like the marriage. It's like you're committed. Like this ain't an overnight thing.
Yeah.
You can't just, you're going to be there, living, sweating, breathing, dying. You are going to, once you open that door, you've signed that lease or bought that property, whatever. You were committed for however long it's going to be, the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. That's what I've always thought. The restaurant had been there 40 something years. It's like, when you're there, you're committed. So I was like, do I really want to do this again? I don't know. I went to Italy, which I'd never been to Europe, any place like that. And it kind of made me find it again.
Good.
It made me find it. I went to Italy and I was just like, these people were living life, but they had like, it's their way of life. And the people that are working in these restaurants were so happy. And it was like, they were, you would see them. I would pass by, eat there. So some places we ate, beginning of the day. And then I would come by that night, and they were still there closing up, and I was like, "That's." And they were happy, and they fed my energy. To me, I always fed my energy off my customers. I was lost. Yeah. I feed off I'm grateful that I've had so many wonderful people come in the restaurant over the years and have given me. It's like the instant gratification and allowing me to be a part of their family. Because I think that's what I've gotten from the restaurant. I've gotten have so much more family. And without them, number one, closing it, I was lost because I didn't have that energy. I wasn't seeing people. I wasn't, it's like my girlfriend tells me sometimes I'm so social, but she doesn't understand. I need that. To me, it feeds my fire. That feeds my fire is seeing people happy. Mm-hmm. It makes me want to do what I do. And it brings me out of my shell. If people are like, this one time somebody said to me, this girl was like, you're not, she was like, some people are social. She was like, but you are, I don't know if you're innately social. And I was like, I think you're right. I don't think I ever was innately social, but it's because I got to know so many people and saw my dad do it. And it's like, and then I received a reward. You gave me a reward. Yeah. For me make you happy by feeding you, then I get to see you being happy, makes me happy.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's like reciprocal, the circle of it. And it's like, it brought me out of my shell, and Arnold's, when it closed, all that, I just, going to Italy brought it back, and I realized that, wait a second, you aren't done yet. You aren't done yet. Mm-hmm. And then the world happens, and I was actually going to be buying something on Charlotte. I was the smoking thighs. That whole thing went down, which was absolutely terrible. That guy Matthew is one of the nicest people. Yeah, man. Was one of the nicest people on the face of the earth. God rest his soul. Whatever ended up happening, he was great. But I was going to be buying his property, and then it didn't work out. And he tried to work with me, and great guy. Didn't work out because they ended up backing out of the property of the restaurant. I guess because interest rates went up. So, think about it, when you're spending $300 million and you're paying it 3.5% to 4%, your payment's like...
For a restaurant.
Yeah. 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 So for them to... Well, they're going to be building about 14-story place. And I guess because of the way that everything went up, a guy explained to me that, they were... their profit was going to be a loss. It's just between the cost of everything. It's just cost of business. Mm-hmm. So they were ready to walk away. And then we were like, what are we going to do? Do we sell? So we kind of looked around, and because of, it's funny, residential property went up, commercial property went down. It's always like that. One of the two. Typically, they usually don't go up together. Where in Nashville, they were going up together. Yes. And then all of a sudden, it cost so much to build. The cost to build doubled because of import, export, not, hadn't have enough goods, whatever.
But it was like overnight.
It was
like, I remember we built the business plan like 2019 and into 2020. And then 2021 came and we were starting to like put things together, and we had investors. And when 2022 came and we started getting bills for stuff, it was like, oh shit. Like, it was overnight where we had to go back and rewrite the whole fucking plan and then borrow more money because we couldn't build a restaurant in a 2021 model in 2022.
Yeah.
Like it was like over fucking night, man.
Yeah, it is. It's insane. And so they backed out, and we were like trying to pick up the pieces, like what the hell we're gonna do. And we thought about leasing, and I knew at that moment. I already knew when I got back from Italy. I was like, I'm ready. Whatever it is, you know, we can open this, we can open that. And my mom, the rest of my family are like, oh, my mom was actually. I knew she couldn't let go. That's that.
Really?
You know. And knowing that we're paying $80,000 in property tax, and it's like, why didn't she let me do it? It's like, the problem is the taxes on that spot for 0.48 of an acre is $80,000, and it's going up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if I was paying $10,000, I could easily give her $70,000 plus whatever else a year, and make the money and made it work into where I could have just paid her retirement and bought it for her.
Right.
But it's like, knowing it's going to go up, knowing that, you know, that's not a good business model. If you're, you know, especially now that everything's gotten so much more expensive, you know, so it's like, if you're paying $80,000 right off the top, and for property taxes, and that's before you pay, you know, we were talking about earlier, taxes. It's like property tax $80,000. The electric bill has gone from, the electric bill is like $2,500 a month, and what we never understood was when we were closed for that year, our electric bill was $800 a month. We don't understand how
You
that
should just
happened.
cut the main power and see what
We did.
you know. Yeah, like
and
crazy.
We had like two things on, and
Dude, when we got our first, like, obviously I've never paid an electric bill in a commercial space, and it's like I pay it at my house, and it's, you know,
like
whatever.
130,
Yeah, whatever,
140.
maybe.
Yeah.
When we got that first electric bill, I was like,
We're trying to figure out what we're gonna do, and I actually had a meeting. I called my old. I used to work at the Loveless. When right out of college, I worked at Loveless for Tom Rose. I was a general manager, and before he sold it, and I had just like, Tom, this is what's happening, and Tom's like, why are you stressing the decision? I was like, oh no, I don't want to try to open something out there that's such a beautiful ending. You can't just open back up. And he was like, why not? Why not? And I'm like, because you can. And Son's like, why not just do it? Yeah, he's like, just open. Yeah. City's gonna support you. Right. City Lounge. No one's gonna be like, well, wait a minute, man. You guys got close that. It's like, yeah, you guys got screwed. Yeah. And I understand why the people backed out. What happened? You want to talk about it, or? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was, Small Road. They own all the property next to us. They had a Divine Street too, right? Yeah. They own where, you know, Mais de la Vida just open, and all those places. Is that in the Heartiest building? Is it mine? No. So it's like the Heartiest building is going to be where Cat and Patterson. Yeah, it's that a long time to finish that building. Yeah, it's taking forever. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. I think the strategic that they were going to be in there, like, oh yeah, like the next chapel, last day. Yeah, like that. It's like one done last day. So, and then now, they're not there. It's like right forever. But so they had designed for our property. And actually, the Carters actually, first they sold the business, and then
That's the little strip mall kind of next to you guys, right? Or
yeah, that was where the guitar shop,
the car shop is.
the ours, right? It's Carter, yes, it's Carter Guitar. They let the people out of their contract, and the people actually moved to the new building right above Mais de la Vida, behind Two Hand.
Right.
They're on the whole top, beautiful new spot. But they were kind of pissed because it's like, they let them out of their lease because they were buying this old property from all this. And then I understand why they did it, because everything got more expensive. Like your construction. But you were doing one building, so imagine a $300 million.
Wait, fucking.
So it's like, think about it. So I don't know what you pay on $300 million, maybe 400, 300, 200,000. I don't really know, but it doubled. So financially looking at it, I understand why they did what they did.
They just pull the plug on.
It's just a bad deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It went from a good deal to a bad deal. And they pulled the plug and walked away from, like, we got $500,000 earnest money. They got $500,000 earnest money. I think the people on the other side got $500,000. The people think that's a lot of money. Well, you take about $100,000 away in taxes. You take another $80,000 away, on the property taxes. You're down to like
Plus all the bells and fees.
and then $30,000 at legal fees, and then you divide that between 5 families, and it's just like, oh crap, you back work, yeah. Like, it's like, so
Here's a fun weekend, man.
thanks for my that 2 weeks in Italy. Yes, right. It's paid for, but that's time to get back to work. So it's like we had to figure out what we were gonna do, and it just, I lost 50 grand on the deal with was gonna be the smoking dies. I was gonna be ML Rose, and they run the smoking dies over there. So that's what I was doing. I knew when I got back, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get something set in stone. I had never done a commercial deal before. Commercial is not like residential. You're 30 days away from closing on your house. You've been approved.
Yep.
Everything. I don't know who would say. I mean, how many people will back out of? I mean, I would say 98% of the time you're closing on a house.
Yeah.
I don't know, but in a commercial deal, I didn't know better, and I guess because they were such, heavy hitters, that they thought that it was a for sure deal. And I guess I've learned now, never. And when it comes to commercial, one of my friends tried to tell me at the beginning, because they had it to where they could postpone it for 6 months. And hell, my dad, it was pretty much on his deathbed, which there's silver linings. Number one, I got to hang out last year with my dad in 2023. Y'all spent a lot of time with him. My brother and I were over there a bunch. We came to Jesus terms, the Gordon Ramsay, when he tore asses up, he was all like, I just tried to make you better. And, I love you. Forgive me for that. And it was great. So that there is silver linings there. And it was wonderful. Got to spend the year with him. But, I lost train. But I think I was saying something about, they backed that. It just became, I understand why they did it. And I had my future. I was looking at my 50 grand that I was going to be putting. So it's like, once you start taking away all that money, you're like, everybody get $500,000. Well, hell, $500,000 is down to like 250, and that's before you pay yourself. And I'm not working, and divide that up. It just didn't go real far. It was gone. So it's like, we got to figure out something fast. So, given the current market and how commercial property went down, it was like, what are we gonna do? Now, after talking to Tom or a bunch of other people, I'm like, let's just open up. And so my mom, the thing was, she was scared. She had a stroke right before it bones. She's just tired that she deserves a break. And it's like, and she says, I'm not coming in. She's there every freaking day. And it's like, that, I know then at that place will never, I could never, even if I gave her money to not be there, she still,
Yeah, but she can't sit still. You can't sit still. I can't sit still.
yeah, it's in your blood.
Yeah. But I saw my mom one time and I was like, oh, I can't wait to retire and just like do nothing. Just like, get a little beach house somewhere and like, do jujitsu in my 50s and 60s. And she's like, you'd be bored after a week. She's like, after a week, you'd be so bored with just doing nothing. She's like, you're a busybody. And I'm like, no. And then like, she said to me a long time ago, and it's really stuck with me. And I'm like, God damn, she's right. Right. I would be so bored. I started no purpose in life to get out of bed.
I started doing caterings. After I got back from Italy, I started doing caterings again. I felt bad because there was people that wanted me to do stuff, but I was so emotionally spent. I was like,
Yeah, I was letting you to recharge the battery. Like, nah, yeah, see it. Dude, I
so all those people, I was sorry right now. I was evil. I told it was only because I mentally couldn't. No, you don't have to think about. You don't have to apologize.
you have to take care of yourself, man. You have to go recharge the batteries, reset, figure it out. I'm glad you did it in Italy. To be able to say here, you can't heal in the place that broke you. Not saying that it was broke or anything, but you were grinding away for so long, and now you're not anymore. You can't fix yourself here. You need to go out.
It is true. That's the outside. Never realized that. You just happened to do it. My girlfriend was like, "We need to go to Italy." Or she was like, "Oh, wait, how long were we there for?" We were there for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I was guaranteed that.
Yeah, I say for every year you're grinding away, you need like 2 weeks of like away from the place you're grinding.
Yeah.
And like turn that side of your brain off and go to another country. You don't speak the language. You don't know how the money works. You can't get a cab. Everything is like hyper aware. You have to turn that flight or fight on to your brain. And then like that kind of like lets the other side of your brain kind of just like relax and like calm down a little bit. And I did it in Asia a bunch. I did it in Europe. And yeah, that's exactly my formula is for everything.
I came from the mentality of my dad is you can't ever leave your rest. Like you should live there for, I mean, you are when you're working. But he was like, he would never close up. Every now and then they would close up and go to the beach for like 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah, but he didn't have Instagram. He didn't have social media. He didn't have Yelp. He didn't have reviews. He didn't have the pressure that he didn't have. Like, you got to do a TV segment. You got to go out there and bring people in. Like, it's a different game now.
Yeah.
And we're like, we have to hustle and keep hustling all these things that we have to do. And you just become fucking exhausted, man.
Yeah.
Like, now as a fucking social media influencer, because I'm trying to get people in a restaurant, I fucking not do this, man.
You know, and cook. And that's my girlfriend doesn't understand. She's always, a lot of times I'm on because she doesn't have an Instagram or Facebook.
Oh God,
Which is we under envy those people. I love her. Yeah, I love her to death. I mean, I literally love her, but I love her to death. It's like she's got me on there less.
oh, she look at memes.
But which she's got, I don't know. But when I get on there now, it was Italy when she's got me to stop getting on there as much. But I'm like, you know, running a business, she was like, I understand you should just post for your business. And I'm like, yeah. And then I do that, but then I catch myself on there like just like looking at, I'm like, oh, I need to get on. But it's like in Italy, I really started just doing less social media. And I mean, that's a lot up here because I was like living more in the moment.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how bad I was. I'd be sitting at, you know, having conversation like this, and I would be literally, I'm not talking.
Yeah.
I had gotten bad. Yeah.
And I'm so bad, I don't even want to know. Like, you know, that screen time, I turn all that shit off, man. I'm so, I'm so addicted to like looking at memes.
Yeah.
It's this, so I'm like, oh, this is relaxing me. It's not relaxing me. No. It's like the cortisol levels just spike. You know? Oh, you're like, what am I doing? Then I come across some political shit, I'm in that rabbit hole, and I'm like, or over somewhere else, and I'm like,
well, I found
Alexio.
I don't think I had maybe ever once maybe posted on something political. I did it, and then I realized I don't ever, and I'm just like, I don't know. It
just reading into the boy.
Well, and it goes away from what the motto is. The motto is to love everybody. I don't hear if everybody is welcome, as John Ezra said. Everybody's welcome at my table.
Yeah.
And Jim Myers, I was talking to him recently, and he was like, you know, reminiscing that he's been coming to the restaurant forever. He was like, your dad and John Edgerton were on opposite ends of the political spectrum. They would sit at the same table. They would argue.
Yeah.
They would get up and shake hands, wish each other a good day. That was it.
Yeah.
And that, I think we can still get there if you almost turn off your phone.
Yeah,
turn off your phone.
Yeah.
And just if you're going to vote for Trump, if you're going to vote for Harris or, you know, whoever, you know, man, that's okay.
Right. At the end of the day, we're still people.
Yeah, we're still the same person. Right. We still eat. And at the hospitality, it's like, I love everybody. I'm not going to hold
And I guess shouldn't be political.
Never. It's not. See, the funny thing was we've never allowed people to put signs up for that reason.
Yeah.
And why should you?
And a restaurant's a community. You should let everybody get away.
For everybody. Yes.
To forget about your problems. Let someone take care of you and celebrate some sort of special occasion. No matter what you believe.
Well, maybe we need to set. Maybe we need to be the ones, be in restaurants, in community, places for a community, to be the one to build the bridge. To be like, okay, you know, we're going to show you that, hey, we can love everybody.
Right.
Everybody comes in and we feed everybody.
Right.
We treat everybody the same.
Right.
We can, you can.
Yeah. Food is not that. Food shouldn't be political.
Yeah.
A restaurant shouldn't be.
Food should not be political.
Yeah.
I mean, that can be the meme or the t-shirt. The t-shirt.
Yeah.
Food is not political.
Yeah.
We, you know, spread love. You know, everybody's accepted. Everybody is welcome to our table.
Yeah.
And build that bridge and show everybody that it's like, you know, we're all human. We're all the same. You know, whatever race, whatever ethnic food you're eating or whatever you're doing, you know, food is the bridge.
Yeah.
In that we spread love and you come to our place, you know, that we can pay it forward and we can show you that just because somebody's voting for this person, it doesn't matter.
Or what God you believe in, or you don't believe in God, or what gender you are, or what you do for a living. It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, it's a community. A neighborhood, a city is a community. A country is a community.
Maybe instead of a coat check, we have a phone check.
Yeah.
You know, like put your phone at the door.
Yeah, dude.
Put your phone at the locker.
Yeah.
There's your locker. Put your
and then it's like what people are going to say is, well, what if the babysitter's got to get a hold of me or I need to know. It's like, dude, I grew up in the fucking 80s. Our parents were never home. We let ourselves in with a key that was underneath the mat. They were never around. Trust me, your kid's going to be fucking fine, you know? But you're gone for 2 hours at dinner. Your kid's going to be fine. You don't need your phone. That's weird. Be like, it's good. Like, fucking relax.
If it's that was emergency, then call her.
Then call the restaurant.
Yeah, call the restaurant. How that?
The restaurant number. I'll make sure the phone. Yeah, they'd be a fucking.
That would be cool to phone check.
Yeah.
And that people are engaging.
Yeah.
And I was with my girlfriend yesterday. And I was checking football scores, and she got on my ass. And she was like, "It's my birthday. I'm here." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I do it all the time. I don't want to do it. It's in fucking addiction."
It is.
Yeah. And I'm like, "You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was doing it." It's like, but that's one thing I learned over there. I was being present. And it just kind of taught me that peaceful is wonderful. It's peaceful, man. It's wonderful.
They figured it out. You know how old, but America's fucking couple 200 years old. We're talking about civilizations that are thousands and thousands, have rich history of food and community, and socializing, and gone through famine, gone through war. It's a different way of life. It's a different way of life. We just don't fucking be eating our cars. You know, like the great thing about Italy is you go get an espresso. There's no to-go cups. There's no divided shares. You go, you drink it, you sip it. It's like a 4-minute experience. Yeah. You go to espresso, they fucking give it to you. Here it is. 2-3 sips, you're out the fucking door.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the buongiorno, they are.
Try getting a cappuccino after, noon. It'll be like you're crazy. It's a breakfast drink.
Yeah.
Well, we had the American breakfast was terrible. It's so that they make it terrible on purpose. Shit, because they're like, why are you eating this shit?
Right. It was like the third day I was there. I said, "Oh, what's wrong with your American breakfast?" And they were like, I guess they were like,
no, the Italian breakfast is like a cigarette, an espresso,
and they're like, what was it? Not a crepe. What do they have everywhere? They had croissants. It's so good. They had croissants. They pretty much, if you're gonna eat breakfast, there's a fucking croissant. It's like, all right, so gelato. Well, it's breakfast. The only people like every morning, we wife everybody's eating gelato at 9 in the morning.
Like, it's Spain. They drink little beers. Like, I saw it. I'm like, you're drinking a beer? Like, yeah, it's like a little cognac they call it. I just had a little beer in the morning.
And the morning's 10:30 in the afternoon. And everybody, we went to lunch and everybody was drinking a glass of wine, champagne.
Yeah.
It's like, it's about, so it's like they get up, they work for a little bit, they go have a great lunch, everybody's hanging out, relaxing. Then they go back to work for a little bit. Then they go take a nap because their body's about to shut down. Then they get back up. Yeah, they go eat a big dinner. And then they do it all over.
But work is not their identity.
No.
And here, work is your identity.
It's not your identity, and they don't care about how much they have either. It's like people go there to live. It's like you're not going to take this microphone with you when you die. You're not going to take that nice car you have when you die. It's like, but experiencing the moments and celebrating being alive, it's like what it felt like. It was like, it's when we were in Bologna, I remember we ran into this, we were talking to this couple, and she was a professor, but now she worked also at like giving people tours. But this pub, it had all these soccer games on. It was this little looked like an Irish pub, but it was it was like an Italian pub. Everybody's saying, no, they was having fun. And I forgot what he did, and it was just kind of like they were loving it, And we went to this Italian a vineyard. It was anyway. It was all this guy that worked there. He'd only been there just a second year. He knew everything about it. He was obsessed with it. Knew everything about wine. It was like, oh, somebody else is here. And anyway, he was doing all that. And what was beautiful, he was actually English. And oh, really? He had been in marketing and made a bunch of money, but wanted to do something the rest of his life besides what he was doing there. And he's like, I thought about going to America, but he was like, the reason I went to Italy is I found a good job here with these people. They're, it was like something that I'm passionate about. I realized instead of doing the rat race, I needed to find my passion. He was like, the reason I went here, because I could travel everywhere so easily, where if I'm in America, it's so much harder to get across seas.
Right.
He was like, so I almost went to America, but he's like, either way, I knew I was going to work at a vineyard or a winery. And he was like, I'm not making the money I used to make, but to me, this is what I wanted to do with my life. And I realized I woke up one day and I just said, I'm done. I want to do what's going to make me happy for the rest of my life. He was like, life is short. I need to go live it instead of worrying about making money.
That's so.
And it was tiring. And it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
He was like, really, I was going to move to America, but I realized that I want to travel more. And this was just going to allow me to do that. It's the only reason I stayed here. But he was like, I realized that one is my passion. And he was like, my girlfriend kept pushing me, quit bitching about your job. this league or passion. She was like, I'll move with you. Wherever you want to go, let's do this. And so he's like, now I love what I fucking do. I get so much downtime. He's like, but I'm not making the money, but who cares?
Yeah. And it was this like, and then you drive 2-3 hours and you're in another country. Yep. You drive 2-3 hours and you're still in Illinois. You know?
Well, and they have trains there. You don't got a train. What's the other train?
Yeah, fucking
How about a train? You're in from Florence to Venice in an hour and 20 minutes on a fast train, and you just watch the movie. You're there. You're like, oh, this is great.
yeah.
Is this the next?
Totally good film style with none. We're gonna load this time. Don't worry, man. Yeah, this time. Oh, no, I already know. I gotta fix something to work. That's what it is. All right, we'll wrap this up. Yeah, bro. Thanks for hanging out, man.
Yeah,
Great talking. Like
I was everywhere.
that's just exactly what this.
Not the way my brain, this way my brain works.
Yes, perfect.
Because I'm like, so I go for
They make a great podcast.
and it was because of Oktoberfest. We're gonna blame them to. Well, that's their fault. They made me drink all that beer.
If people want to find you, where do we find you at?
At the restaurant, baby.
You got Arnold or it's Instagram?
If you want to find me, Khalil Arnold. Is this straight up my name? KHLIL Arnold on Instagram. They could also get hold of me at Arnold's Country Kitchen. We got Instagram. We got Facebook.
Most famous meat and three in America.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I know about that.
Oh,
Thanks, brother. It was great talking.
it was great to be on here and share shit. You helping me.